just a thought on where you're progressing as a team and as you get ready to go down to Orlando, and what's it going to be like for you to leave and get down there and get going with the NBA? I know you talked about how tough it may be with your, having to leave your family, but just your thoughts as you kind of gear up mentally and then physically to get down to Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, that's real. But Dan, we're as far as where we are right now, the guys, a lot of guys have been in Boston a good majority of this hiatus, and we were allowed to do voluntary workouts starting early June back in the facility, and seen almost everybody through. Today's the first day that, we will see everybody through all in one day because it's mandatory now. But guys look good. They look good physically, and have really, clearly worked hard to prepare as well as they can. As far as going down there, I think, I saw Austin Rivers said today, that the idea of an asterisk next to this championship, I think he said it exactly right. This is going to be a super unique situation, and whoever wins it's going to really earn it, because I think there's certainly a basketball side of this, but it's also you've got to find joy. You've got to make sure that you're, we want to make an impact on and off the court. We want to continue to prioritize things that are very important to the group as a whole. And so there's a lot of things that we're talking about heading into this really new season. In a lot of ways, we can call it. You can attach it to last season if you want, but in a lot of ways, it's a new season, and that's the way we're looking at it.
Thank you.
Is it me? Is it my turn?
Your turn, John.
All right. Brad, has anybody tested positive as far as you know, and is there full participation planned for the trip to Orlando?
We've had no positive tests. Obviously, we started as a team testing with the travel party and with anybody that would be in the gym and the players. I think June 23rd was that our first day that we all did that. So I'm losing track of days. Been testing every other day, and knock on wood, none so far. And obviously, it's important that we all take care of ourselves and do everything we can to obviously go into the bubble healthy, because I think those first couple weeks of practice are going to be really important to get our legs underneath us. I think our guys have done a great job of staying in shape, but I think once you get into like practice and really playing and those types of things, it's a different kind of level that you have to reach. And for us, John, we've talked about it all year. Like if we're not, able to pressure the ball, if we're not disruptive on that end of the floor, then, we won't have a long stay. And so I think we know that, that's a huge aspect for us, is being in great condition.
And I'm sorry, no one's opted out, right?
No, not that I know of. Nobody's told me.
Hey, Brad, it's Joe from Cleveland.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. Now that you've had a chance to see the guys a little bit, do you have any sense for how long this will take to get them into game shape and kind of game ready? And then is 2 weeks once you get to Orlando and start playing these games enough time to be playoff ready?
Well, we want to be at our best on August 17th. So I think that we've got, I think obviously everybody's going to have different dates. I think that as we look at it, Joe, we've got, 2 weeks, and then you get a couple of scrimmages which haven't been announced yet. And then you have, 8 seeding games. And obviously the seeding games are important, for everybody that's there. But at the same time, the most important time for us will be that August 17th day. So as we prepare and add in minutes into the equation and add in where we want to be, that's kind of our day that we have in mind. And I think that's really important to, be able to play our best. I feel like that's enough time to get ready to do that. Again, our guys have stayed in good shape. They've done everything they can up to this point. And when we get back to practice, it will be a little bit of we won't go 5 hard days in a row. Like we'll go, we might go 2 hard days in a row, go very light, 2 hard days, go off, that type of transition in practice. Because I think it's going to be important, basically once we get there, when we start games, it's going to be every other day for however long we're there. And so with the back-to-back in there and the regular season seeding games, and then, maybe an extra day as you prepare for a playoff opponent. But we have to be ready for that kind of, schedule. And so that's where our focus is right now. I'm happy with where our guys are individually, but inevitably, that first practice is going to be different. And we just got to be able to manage that appropriately.
All right. Adam? Hey,
bro.
Hi, Adam.
You addressed a little bit, I guess, in that last answer, but obviously it's going to be a unique situation with there being no fans, being in one arena where all the teams are at once. There's no travel. What kind of things, if anything, are you guys doing to kind of prepare for the uniqueness of this?
Well, first of all, the NBA is doing a ton of things to prepare for it. Obviously, everything from, having, mental wellness at the forefront of everybody's mind to all the different activities that we will be able to do inside the bubble to, gyms that are going to be available on off times, et cetera. It is super unique, and we are all, as organizations, all doing things. And I think one of the things that we've tried to do is, pick the brains of people, not only in our sport across the different teams that'll be there, but also, around different sports to see, how we can keep this as fresh as possible. As I said earlier, I think the team that has a great grit to it, finds great joy throughout the whole process, stays together throughout the whole process, will be the team that will have, a great opportunity to be standing there. Now, obviously, the basketball is going to come into play, but there are a lot of unique challenges that come with this, some predictable, some that I'm sure we'll figure out, when we're sitting there in the first week. The longest road trip I've been on here is 10 days. And, even in summer league, I don't usually go for more than 10 days. And so I think that, it is a unique thing, and we're going to do our best to manage that appropriately. And, I think our, Allison Feaster, who's in charge of our player development, has created programming throughout this hiatus and has started creating programming for our time in Orlando that I think is critical. And we're in great hands with her leading that. And so we're going to keep working on that. That's going to be important to us all, not only players, but staff as well.
And just to follow up briefly, have you thought about wearing a mask while you coach? Is that something that's like under discussion or decision one way or the other?
I haven't heard what it's going to be in the games. I mean, from what I've been told, Adam, and I might be wrong on this, I'll follow whatever protocols they tell me. Obviously, I'm going to prioritize safety first. But from what I've been told is that in practice and in games, I won't have to. And that'll be, obviously, that'll be after we've been tested and quarantined and everything else. But if I have to, I have to. And so I'll have to get good with hand signals.
Mark D'Amico.
Hey, Coach. You talked about a bunch of the unique aspects of this entire scenario, but in terms of from the competition standpoint, what do you think is going to be the most unique challenge, not only for you guys, but for every team in trying to, win a championship in this environment?
I think the most unique part, obviously it's going to be unique playing without fans. I think that everybody will adjust to the environment, whatever that is, with, I don't know what all the plans are with, the noise or the jumbotrons or whatever the case may be. But I think the biggest adjustment, the biggest challenge, and again, I go back to what I said earlier, will be maintaining your sense of purpose throughout this entire period, and doing so against the best players in the world, right? I mean, that's the biggest challenge is always those teams on the other side and the coaches and players that you're competing against. But then we're all in this unique situation, and managing that will be critical.
Mike Petraglia.
Thanks, Brandon. Brad, I'm curious if you're going to let your some of your veteran players, Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker, address the team and let them take on a leadership role, especially as you get started back practicing full go.
I mean, we do that with all of our players all the time. You know, and I think, you know, all those guys have been, you know, both Kemba and Smart are guys whose voices carry a lot of weight. But I think you also have, you know, our youngest players, or some of our youngest players, you know, have been some of our more vocal players throughout this hiatus, and carry the room as well. I mean, Jalen and Jason and others. So, you know, we lean on everybody, and it's going to be, everybody's going to have to be all in on one page. And there will be challenges that come along, and it will be quite a challenge, again, to compete against the very best of the best every single day. But that's what you sign up for here. And, you know, we're looking forward to the opportunity.
All right. And then last question with Tim Reynolds.
Hey, Brad, as you guys went through the process of identifying the 35 for the travel roster, or 37, whatever the number was, how important is it going to be to have people that can sort of play out a position, I guess would be the way to put it, like as far as people in different roles that they're not typically in? How important was that in that process?
Well, first of all, Tim, and I'm sure other coaches feel this way, we have a loaded staff. Like, our staff is awesome. And, you know, I lean on them all extremely heavy, and we're not able to take everybody. And that stinks because of the amount of work that they all put in every single day. But we've tried to identify how to be the most efficient we can be with people that can be excellent remotely as well. You know, I think that that's one of the things that we've had to identify. In some cases, their excellence remotely, you know, probably hurt their chances of going initially. I hope that the NBA allows us to bring extra staff as teams get eliminated and move on. You know, even as we, you know, cut down to 16 teams from 22, that's a significant number of people. Hopefully we're able to replace them with staff, because everybody deserves to go. But that's the way that we've looked at it. Everybody will take on different tasks at the, you know, that are in Disney, but then we'll lean heavy on the people that aren't there. In fact, we've got some new video and projects that we're going to take on, because we think we may be able to be more timely in our evaluations, because we have some super talented people that won't be there, but will be, you know, watching from afar and, you know, in our ears after every game.